Have you ever thought about a nation that carved palaces out of mountains? A nation that used to say, "Who is more powerful than us?" But when the command of the sky arrived, their palaces were buried beneath the soil. After Prophet Nuh, AS, another nation was born, the Ad. They lived in an area called Al-Ahqaf, between Yemen and Oman. Their city was Iram dat al-Imad, meaning the city of pillars, which spoke to the skies. Their bodies were as strong as mountains, their stature touched the clouds, and their pride pierced the heavens. They said, "We are the heirs of this earth, and we shall remain forever." In the sands of Ahqaf, their urban areas stretched far and wide. The ground echoed with the hooves of their horses. At night, the light from their lamps shone brightly from a distance, as if their city were a crown upon the earth. And in their assemblies and meetings, they often said one thing: "People like us will never be born again." Even their children would show their strength by lifting heavy stones at a young age, and the elders would say with pride, "Our children too are those who bow the mountains." The people of today had another strange belief. They thought the wind was their slave. Their youth would sometimes stand in the middle of the valley, spread their arms, and say to themselves, "Look, the wind follows our bodies." The elders, in their gathering places, would say with pride, "Our forefathers could change the direction of the wind. Who can stop us?" When they saw a storm approaching from afar, they would laugh and say, "The wind is with us. It will not fall upon us, but upon our enemies." But little did they know that the approaching wind had become their greatest enemy. The people of Ad were not just tall. Their physical build was many times larger than an average human. Even today, their footprints are found between the mountains near the riverbanks, leaving people astonished. The doors of their houses were so high that a horse and its rider could both enter straight inside, and their utensils were made of stone, so large that a single vessel could cook food for an entire clan. Time passed, arrogance grew. As time went by, their pride intensified. Then Allah sent His prophet, Hazrat Hud, AOS, who began to say, "O my people, worship only Allah. There is no deity but Him." They replied, "Hud, do you want us to leave the religion of our forefathers? We are powerful. No one can touch us." Hazrat Hud, AS, said again, "I am warning you of a punishment that you cannot even imagine." But in hearts filled with pride, advice breaks like a wave hitting a stone. Hazrat Hud, AS, would go to their markets, their palaces, and their doors every day to give the final call. Sometimes their leaders would laugh and say, "Hud, if there were weight in your words, our palaces would have fallen long ago." Sometimes a child would mock his voice, and some people would change their path upon seeing him, fearing that the fear of Allah might fill their eyes. One day, Hud, AES, went to their assembly where their leaders sat on golden thrones. Hud, AS, said, "Look at the system of nature created by Allah. Your strength is nothing." But their leaders laughed. "Stop these small promises. If punishment comes, we will stop it with our strength." A few days before the punishment, a strange sight occurred in the valley of Ad. At night, a deep sound was heard in the sky. No clouds thundered, no lightning flashed, but it felt in the valley as if someone were calling from afar. The people of Ad heard this sound and said to one another, "This is the sound of the mountains." Hazrat Hud, AS, began to say, "This is not a call of mercy. This is a warning." On the second night, the earth shook slightly, but it was so minimal that only the animals became restless. "Look," the humans laughed, "even the earth fears our strength." They did not know this was the earth's final protest. Then came the decision of Allah. First, a famine fell upon them. For 3 years, not a drop of rain fell. Rivers dried up. Gardens burned. The earth turned to stone. People kept looking at the sky, wondering when rain would come. But the answer from the sky was silence. In the first year, they said, "This is a minor issue. We are powerful people." In the second year, thirst dried their tongues. Empty pots clattered against the walls. Animals began to collapse due to thirst. In the third year, that laughter, that pride, and those voices that once claimed to challenge the heavens vanished from the land of Ad. And when the people came to Hud, ASS, he did not cry upon seeing them. He only said, "Now the time of punishment is near." Then one day 3 clouds appeared, one red, one white, and one black. An angel called out from the sky, "O people of Ad, choose one of these clouds." The leaders laughed and said, "The black cloud, it has water, it is mercy." But little did they know that in that cloud was hidden not mercy, but wrath. The sky turned pitch black. The wind grew cold. People began to dance and shout, "Look, the rain has come." But it was not water. It was the storm of punishment. The first gust came. Dust and stones flew. In every gust of the storm, it felt as if the winds were erasing their names. The second gust came. Trees fell. Animals were swept away. All their idols, all their pride, their gardens, their city, everything was scattering in the wind. At night, people would clutch their children in their arms, but the storm moved faster than their screams. The third gust, humans were snatched away into the air. Their palaces, which once spoke to the sky upon pillars, were now rotting beneath the sand. For 7 nights and 8 days, that storm continued. The sky thundered, the earth trembled. Their palaces, their glory, all turned to dust. Allah said that the Ad were destroyed by a fierce, roaring wind that blew over them continuously for 7 nights and 8 days. And when the wind stopped, there was only silence. All that remained was a sea of sand and fallen trunks, like the hollow trunks of date palms. But those few people who believed along with Hazrat Hud, AS, were saved by Allah. They were given refuge in a cave in the mountains, and Hazrat Hud, AS, said, "O my Lord, you are the most merciful. Keep us steadfast on the paths that lead to you." When Hud, AS, stood above the valley looking at the destroyed city, his eyes filled with tears. These were the people who once said, "Who is more powerful than us?" And now even their living sign had scattered in the wind. Hud, IS, said, "The end of arrogance is always destruction, and disobedience to Allah is ruin." Even today, their city Iram remains buried under the sands of Aqaf, standing as a witness that says, "Honor is not gained through power and glory, but only through obedience to Allah."